Hello, everyone, and welcome to September session of Ask Me Anything. My name is Rodia Tamuso, and I'm co-chair of the SCG Women's Network student community. And today we have a special guest with us, Marissa Williams. She has 12 years professional experience, all within SLB, beginning her career in Trinidad and Tobago, where she grew up. She has held a diverse portfolio of assignments, predominantly in sales and commercial, also including human resources role, focused on career development for young professionals. She is a chemical and process engineer by background. Her expertise is in artificial lift, and she is currently pivoting to carbon capture, utilization, and storage business development based out of Houston, Texas. She believes in a balanced lifestyle, and in her downtime, she enjoys traveling, staying active, and meeting new people. Thank you so much for joining us, Marissa Williams. Thank you so much. It means a lot to us. And I'll be handing over to you in a second. But to our participants, if you have any questions, please drop them in the comment section below. Over to you now, ma'am.
Excellent. Thank you, Rodiat, and thank you for the invitation to speak today. So I'll start with, a few slides on CCS. I will also go through, a bit about my career journey. I know some of the previous questions that were sent to me are focused around that. So I'm excited to be here and I'm excited to engage with whoever is on the call. And I'm excited that this will be shared so others can learn from it, whether it's from a career journey aspect or wanting to know a bit more about the CCS space. So with that, thanks to the SCG Women's Network, I think what you guys are doing is an amazing thing for the world, for women all over the globe. And I think it's very inspiring to me to see the work that you guys are doing. So I'll start with the slides. I'm not going to bore you to death with a bunch of technical jargon. I know a lot of you are studying petrophysics, geology, engineering, STEM careers. And for those of you who are on the call who are not or are interested in a career in the industry, I'm here to encourage you to pursue it. It is something that you will be exposed to a lot of diverse people, careers, opportunities, and we operate across the globe. So it is an opportunity for you to see the world as well. So the title of my presentation today is a key element of the future energy mix, and that is carbon capture, utilization, and storage. So Rodia did a good job of introducing me, but I am the CCS Business Development Manager for Production Systems for SLB. I'll tell you a bit about the company for those of you who are not familiar. So SLB, or previously known as Schlumberger, we have 95 years of innovation experience in the energy industry. Last year, we made a bit of a bold pivot in rebranding. So we're now known as a global technology company. And our purpose is to create amazing technology that unlocks access to energy for the benefit of all. Now, this is very dear to, everyone's heart, working with the people around me in Schlumberger. We understand the climate challenge that the world is facing. We are focused on developing technologies that will sustain energy for all, provide energy equity, and solve the climate challenge. So a bit about where we operate. So we currently have close to 100,000 employees across the globe. We operate in over 100 countries, 120 countries, and we have 90 plus years in technology development and manufacturing. So it is a very diverse company. The name Schlumberger is well known. But with the pivots, we're focused on using our new branded name, SLB. So on the agenda, I'll touch a bit about my career journey, who we are as a company, why we're focused on investing in carbon capture and storage, what the CCS drivers are, and with that, you'll see as an energy professional or someone pursuing a career here where you fit. some of the CCS success factors, and a bit about resources of where you can learn. I'm huge on learning. There's so much to learn in the world and so much media, many types of media available to learn from. So a bit about my career. So for those of you who, now joining, as Rodiat said, I was born in Trinidad and Tobago. So that is a small Caribbean island off the coast of Venezuela. I grew up there. I left when I was 29 years old. During my time there, I went to firstly an all girls Catholic school, and then I progressed to pursuing my bachelor's in chemical and process engineering at the local University of West Indies. So, coming out of university, it was a bit difficult when I was pursuing opportunities in the working world. I sent out my resume as anyone would after getting your degree. And it was a challenge because in a country like Trinidad and Tobago, there are few opportunities and a wide amount of graduates that come out of university. So it is very competitive environment. 50% of my class actually had to diversify the job that they pursued because of lack of opportunity. So I was a bit lucky to get the opportunity with Schlumberger after many doors that were closed in my face. So, I mean, a lesson there I would share with all of you is to keep knocking, be persistent, be prepared for opportunities. And I truly believe that preparation and luck equals opportunity. So a bit about my career, joining Schlumberger or SLB. It's a wild ride. It's a roller coaster, and they will throw you into things where it is sink or swim. So I started as a field engineer. I worked offshore Trinidad for many clients there. There were many difficult environments, including jumping on a helicopter and going off to a platform, or climbing up a ladder onto a platform, things I had never anticipated in the industry. So it was very exciting to learn. But my experience as a field engineer, spending 3 years in the field, I learned a lot from the technical aspects and the practical aspects of what I now do as an engineer. So at about 5 years in Trinidad, I got an opportunity to move to Midland, Texas, to support the Permian Basin business development as part of the sales team in artificial lift. So for those of you who don't know what artificial lift is, it's basically technology deployed into already drilled wells to produce oil. So bringing oil from the surface, very contrary to what I do today, putting it back into the ground. So I spent about 3 years in Midland, very competitive markets. Transitioning to Midland, again, it was a challenge coming from a different culture to a US culture. But I found, success in the location. I was then moved to Houston to do a similar role in sales. Learned a lot from the team. In Schlumberger, you'll find a diverse skill set, diverse people to collaborate with. And I think, that equipped me with the tools that I needed to achieve the goals within that role. So after that role, I transitioned to a bit more of a transverse type role, which is in HR. It was field development and career development for our field and maintenance population. So that role, for many reasons, developed me in many ways. Coaching new people joining the organization, recruiting people to join the organization. You meet so many different mindsets, so many different people with different perspectives, that you truly realize the impact that your career and your guidance has on people. And it was a truly enriching experience for me. So really enjoyed it. Now today, I've been in the carbon capture and sequestration space for about a year, another pivot. again, from oil and gas services to the new energy space. So I have some guiding principles. We can share that after the presentation, or feel free to ask some questions now. These are just a bit of my documentation of some pictures along my journey. And I hope, you guys along your journey, you document it, because when you look back, you remember the different places in your life that you were, and you are able to see the evolution in your career and your personal life. So, any questions before I go on? All right. So, moving to SLB. So, what is the SLB New Energy Business Portfolio? So, again, last year we created a new division within Schlumberger, and we've invested in 5 key areas: CCS. So, we are pursuing an end-to-end solution within this space. We have 20 plus years of experience in the subsurface reservoir modeling and simulations domain. So we are well equipped to pursue a business like this. We also have mergers and acquisitions that we've made in the hydrogen space. We're developing an efficient solid oxide electrolyzer for hydrogen production. We have energy storage. This is basically developing a technology for long duration energy storage. We have developed a lot of technologies in the geoenergy and geothermal space. We've acquired this company, Geothermex, for quite some time. So we have made progress in geothermal business development, and of course, critical minerals, lithium type of energy resource. All right. So down to the topic of the hour, it's carbon capture and sequestration. And with pursuing any opportunity or development in any space, it is important to start with the why. So why, as a company, are we investing in CCS? Why are we seeing so many publications on LinkedIn, different platforms on CCS? And why do we think, we can utilize the technology today to reach our net zero goals? So primarily, we have seen different scenarios being put forward by various environmental agencies, including the IEA and the IPCC, to align with the goals of the Paris Agreement. So what this states is that we do need, as a globe, to reach net zero CO2 emissions by 2050 to limit global warming to about 1.5 degrees Celsius. So if you look at the graph on the left, it shows the current global CO2 emissions. And to put that into context, today we emit about 36 gigatons of CO2 per day as a globe, as a community, from industries, as well as from different industrial processes. So if we look at that number, it really is a tremendous undertaking in reducing these emissions by 2050. Whether we will reach that goal, it is hugely dependent on the technologies that we develop in the next 10, 20 years. So today, the importance of CCS in the equation is that we do have technology today, proven technology that has been deployed mainly in enhanced oil recovery applications. But the goal is to scale this technology, different types, whether it be from point source capture or direct air capture, such that we can reduce the CO2 emissions at a very high level. So the future energy mix is not only going to be CCS. CCS is going to be about 13-15% of the equation. We're also looking at energy efficiency technologies, so electrification. You will hear that buzzword, electrification. We have technologies that we are electrifying to deploy in the oil and gas space, as well as new energy space. Renewables, so wind, solar, geothermal, these are technologies existing today, and we want to add to that portfolio. CCS, of course, and fuel switching. So hydrogen as a source of energy is going to be part of the future. So the main message here is CCS is a vital part of the future energy mix. Without it, we're not going to reach the goals of the Paris Agreement 2050. So it is imperative that we look at ways to scale this type of technology so that we're able to meet the climate goals and provide a sustainable future for the industry and for our families. So a bit about the CCS market. So these are public information that you can find on different platforms, but there are various measures for how the market is progressing. This specifically was taken from Rystad marketing information. And today we find we have about a few indicators of progress in this space. And I look at this on a weekly basis because the market is evolving so quickly right now. And it is being driven by a couple of key drivers, right, including policy and climate action by environmental agencies. So today we have about 71 projects in operation. Now, most of these projects are on the enhanced oil recovery type projects on the storage side. So you have different projects from capture to storage, depending on what parts of the value chain you're looking at. And in the pipeline, we have about close to 600 projects rolling out. Now, when I talk about drivers of the CCS market, and we focus on policy, in the past 2 years where we've had policies, and this is government policies enabling CCS scaling, most of these projects, on the graph below, you'll see 94% of the projects in the pipeline have been post-2022. So key message, despite we have the technology, it is not a technology that is commercially viable on its own. We need to find ways for it to be commercially viable. And one of those ways is incentivizing implementation of this technology through government policy. So some of the challenges that we're seeing and the areas that we're seeing these projects being implemented, predominantly the US, European countries, Norway. These are the regions that are leading in the development and deployment of CCS. Many challenges we're facing. And I truly believe the younger generation, everyone on this call or reviewing this as a student, you guys are going to make a huge difference in this space, in technology development and deployment. So what we're seeing right now, the challenges mainly on the permitting side. You need a permit to store CO2 in the ground. So that period of time is about 2 to 3 years to even get permitted. So you can imagine delays in the deployment. Clusters and hub infrastructure. So what this is a community type transport and storage system that would make the CCS deployment and scaling more cost effective for emitters. Technology advancement, though we have technologies available today, we need more cost effective equipment and technologies on the capture side and to de-risk the storage side of things, the subsurface side, to ensure that we're scaling in a safe way. And of course, public acceptance. Now, think about it. We're putting CO2 underground. This may be close to residential areas. At the very beginning, we need to engage communities and communicate communities on any kind of risks or development of the projects. So the value chain, you heard me use this term previously. There are many value chains you can look at if you look at the different industries that we capture CO2 from, and many different configurations possible based on the type of industries that we're looking at. So high level, you have to take the CO2 either from a point source via some sort of capture technology, or there are technologies that are being developed to directly capture the CO2 from the air. So you can capture from industry, hydrogen production, power generation, removals, a variety of configurations here. Then once we've captured that CO2, we need to process it, purify it, remove all the NOx and SOx from the CO2, remove the H2O, the water from the CO2, so that it is in a form that we can transport through different medium, right? So we clean it up, we purify it, we compress it, and it's transported in the form of a hypercritical fluid. This can be done through pipelines, CO2 carriers, trucks, or railway. Now, once we get it to our storage asset, that's where we're going to put it underground. We're either going to put it into depleted oil and gas fields or saline aquifers. Now, the data that we have today as subsurface experts is very limited on the saline aquifer side. We do have more data on depleted ONG, oil and gas fields. And even those come with its challenges in ensuring that we keep the CO2 where we put it. As SLB, we don't participate just yet on the utilization of CO2, but just know it is a feedstock that is used for many industries like the food and beverage, chemicals, and concrete industries. So these are startup businesses that you can start thinking about. So success factors in the CCS space. So we, as a company, we have drilled down to 3 high-level pillars for success for scaling a CCS project. 1, geological storage. So that is the technical side. We have 20 plus years in subsurface modeling and simulations. So we're able to provide solutions and models to our clients where we're ensuring integrity of the space, caprock integrity, ensuring that the space is suitable, so site ranking and screening, the storage integrity and safety, making sure that the CO2 plume stays where we put it. So we don't have migration through faults or different avenues like previously drilled wells. So at every avenue, we are securing that CO2 in place, and also preventing underground potable water sources from being contaminated. So we need to have that system in place and the technology and the devices in place to monitor and verify that we're keeping that CO2 where we put it. Secondly, and this is the biggest bottleneck to scaling CCS, is policy and regulations. So as I mentioned before, one of the key drivers is government policy. CO2 is not like oil production. There is not a price on the market for CO2 in many regions. So we depend on incentives from the government to provide commercially viable solutions, or to incentivize emitter companies. That's the steel companies, industrial companies, cement, all of these companies to reduce their CO2 emissions. You also have different forms of regulations. Apart from incentivization, you can see a tax implementation or emissions trading system like what we see in the European region. I'd encourage you to read a bit more about policy and regulations in the CCS space. There are different types. In the US, it is an incentive. In Europe, it's more of a tax. All right, so what this means, for every ton of CO2 you emit as an industrial company, you can in the future be taxed for that emission, right? And that is dependent on this government's regulation. Or in the US, you can be incentivized to reduce your emissions so that you're able to funnel that into developing that revenue, if you could call it that, or that incentive, into developing new energy technologies. So the third pillar is CO2 emission sources. So to scale CCS, of course, it needs to be commercially viable, and doing clusters or implementing hubs in different regions provides the economy of scale to make it economical for energy businesses. Also, developing new cost effective technologies, so technologies that would reduce the amount of energy to capture CO2 at the emission side, whether you're reducing your capital expenditure or your operating expense. Now, there is some strategy as well in reducing expenses. You have to consider your transportation medium, how far you are from your storage sites. All of that influences the commercial aspect and the economics of a project. So together, the geological storage, the technical side of things, the collaboration that comes with CO2 emission sources, that's partnerships and hubs and clusters, as well as the government's policy and regulation, these are the factors that will help us in the future and in the near term to scale CCS projects and to make them successful. So our offering as a company, and this is where you should as geoscientists, geologists, engineers see where you fit on the subsurface side. So if we look at the storage offering within our portfolio, we start with initial scoping. So that is screening and ranking of your area of review. That is where we're storing the CO2. Evaluation of the subsurface to ensure that it is a good place to put it, whether it be the saline aquifer type or the depleted oil and gas reservoirs. Then, as with any project, we have to do the detailed design work. So from the drilling and completion side, we need to know what is feasible to put in the wells. We need to know the models or the simulations in terms of monitoring the CO2 movement over time. And then once we have all of our boxes checked in terms of risk analysis, cost, equipment, so many things that go into designing that architecture, and we have the approvals, then we can go to construction. So this is building a well. So SLB is very familiar with building wells. That's what we previously did for decades in the oil and gas space. So from drilling to completion of a well and to making sure that it has the integrity to last for 20, 30 years, right? This is the period for where we're injecting CO2. And of course, to meet the regulations required by governments and community, we need to have a set plan post-injection through monitoring, verification, and reporting tools to ensure that we don't have to stop injecting, and we make sure that it is a safe environment for injecting CO2. So the timeframes for each of the aspects of this storage cycle, it varies. And I have it on the slide, from initial scoping to post-injection. But the key area here is, and what is very different from oil and gas wells, is the monitoring side of things. Usually in oil and gas, we drill a well, we complete it, and then the operator takes over and they're producing oil up until that reservoir is depleted. No real monitoring required in terms of regulation reporting. So with CO2, it is a different space where post completion, we do need to monitor where the CO2 is going. And the challenges that we see there is that we don't have data where we can history match or predict where the CO2 is going. So it is, in essence, for some scenarios, untapped domain. So it is a learning process. We are going to fail. We are going to have trial and error, but it's a space that it is needed for the energy transition. All right. So that was the storage offering. Now, on the front end of the process, the capture technologies that we're developing. So you have different technologies that you can apply to different configurations. So here I have the CO2 emission sources type, the scale of emissions from each of these type of sources, the cost of capturing versus the technology available within our portfolio to address the various industries. So if we look at it, not going to delve in it too much. The main message here is that we do have some technologies on market. These are the more lower cost capture technologies that can be applied to high CO2 or high concentration streams. That's for natural gas processing, ammonia, bioethanol. These are the lower cost, easier to abate industries. Then secondly, you have the harder to abate or the more expensive to abate industries like cement, steel, methanol, chemicals industry. Now, reason why this is harder is because, again, going back to the commercial or the economic side of things. So it is a larger amount of the emissions that we see globally, and it is more expensive. Now, the technologies available to address this are in development. Specifically for us, we are pursuing partnerships in the capture space. We've recently made partnerships with RTI International. So this is a research institute to develop a capture technology, which is targeted to lower the capital expenditure and operating costs for our clients. And we also have recently partnered with TDA Research. So this is another capture technology geared for specific clients, floating structures and whatnot. So we're definitely, as a service company and as a global technology, innovating these technologies that will help our clients make sure that they can scale CCS. So main message, it's a work in progress. The lower cost type capture is more feasible for obvious reasons. And we have capture technologies in development to provide commercially viable solutions to our clients. So this is my last slide, right? So it kind of pulls everything together. So we are an innovation company, we're a technology company, but we bring the experience to the table and we are well equipped from all aspects to support clients with projects in this space. We have decades of experience in project management. We operate globally. We are the largest service company, if you could call it that, bigger than Halliburton and Baker Hughes combined in terms of our footprint. We have a lot of carbon capture and storage projects in process, mainly in areas that has the government policy to enable it. We operate onshore and offshore across industries, ethanol, methanol, blue hydrogen. We can do analysis and modeling for different types of storage including saline aquifer, depleted oil and gas reservoirs. And our main objective with our subsurface experience is to target areas such as enhanced oil recovery and, of course, geological storage. So that kind of pulls things together, what we do as a company and the expertise that we bring to the table. And I hope, along the way, you are able to see where you fit as an engineer in the equation. So some resources, if you're interested in going deeper into the CCS space, these are all links. I'll share this with you, Rodiat, and of course you can share as part of the link. All right. So that's the end of the presentation, and I'm happy to answer any questions at this point.
Thank you very much, Marissa. Such a great presentation. I'm sure everybody has learned a lot about one or two things about CCS that they didn't know before. So, but we don't. Okay, I think I can see a comment, but For me, I have a question. I just wanted to ask you that, I know that the CCS business, the technical aspect of, finding better storage, where to store the CCS, we require, geoscientists and maybe even the people that are already working in at SLB. So how do SLB or other companies that are into CCS, how do they seek for, young professionals to be in this role? Do they have to wait to have like many years of experience, or do you just fall back on your geophysicists that are already into subsurface modeling? So how do you, yeah.
So thanks for that question. I think there are many pathways as a SLB offers to new hires and experienced hires. So traditionally, how we recruit fresh out graduates is through our field engineering training program or our technical pathway, what we call our tech and field technology and field pathway for new recruits. So these are the two main pathways. If there are any kind of limitations to going to the field, we also have pathways for what we call maintenance engineers or specialists. So to decipher between maintenance engineers versus specialists, the maintenance engineer requirement is, of course, a certified engineering degree, but we do have the specialist pathway where you just have to have a diploma in a trade, right? Whether it be mechanical or electrical, those are very valuable to a company as well. So that is the fresh out path. That is the path that I took as a field engineer, starting with the company. And what you'll realize coming with a background in engineering, that is, or a trade, that is all you need to start with the company. We have our internal training centers all over the globe that will train you for the job that we want you to do. So if we're talking about new recruits or fresh graduates, that is what we will do later on in your career. And as the market evolves and as the new energy business evolves, if you want to get into the CCS space, then those skill sets and competencies, you will be exposed to the formal training as well as exposure in that space to develop those skill sets. Now, we do have a lot right now of experience hires that we're taking on, mainly because we need to set a strategy and direction for this new space. So we have a lot of PhDs coming in at a high level. We have industry experience professionals coming in at a high level to create that structure for the new people or the younger generation that's either within the company or joining our company today. So I hope that answers your question.
Yes, thank you, ma'am. Thank you for that. We have another question from David Deloremaju. He said he's trying to understand the relationship between HEOR and CCS.
Okay, so EOR, that stands for Enhanced Oil Recovery. So the relation here is for EOR is basically what we use, the technology that we used in the past to inject CO2 into depleted reservoirs to increase production. So it is basically cycling that CO2 to improve the productivity of a reservoir for longer production for very valid reasons. We want more oil. We want to increase the profits. We use CO2 as a medium to do that. Now, CCS, some of the aspects are transferable because again, you're injecting CO2 into the ground for different reasons. You want to keep it there. You want to store it there. So a lot of the competency that we have in doing that is transferable from EOR to geological storage. So I hope that answers your question, David. Thank you so much.
I'm sure. Thank you, ma'am. So without wasting much time, because we don't have much question again on your the CCS in the comment section. So I think we should move to the ask me anything session.
Excellent.
So the first question I have here is that your career has been remarkably diverse within SLB, and ranging from sales and commercial roles, even HR, and now you are even into CCS. So, how did you navigate and excel in such varied roles, and what advice do you have for young women and men seeking a dynamic career path?
So for me, what number one would be to select companies that will give you that opportunity. When I was looking through, the companies that were available to me in terms of starting my career out of university, I wanted a company that would expose me to many different things where I had the opportunity to do so, not just from the technical aspects, but also from a personal development aspect. I wanted to travel, I wanted to meet with different people, I wanted to understand different cultures. And it's the same approach that I have in my work life. I want to learn, there's so much out there to learn, and I want to learn what different people do so I can relate to them, in different positions later in my career. And I can also develop my own competency in that area. And I was lucky enough that Schlumberger provides that transverse type of career path where you can jump around and experience different things, whether it be operations, sales, supply chain, management, HR. um, it's quite a dynamic company, and the opportunity to experience different roles is there. um, and it really depends on you to push yourself outside of your comfort zone and grasp at these opportunities and prepare yourself and put yourself in positions where you're able to access them. So I've enjoyed it. I really have enjoyed it. It's dynamic. It aligns with my personality well. So in a sense, SLB is quite a good match to my personal DNA, and it's worked well so far.
That's great, Marissa. Thank you so much for that answer. I'm sorry to bring you further back. We have a question from Timitayo, and he said he would like to know what skills that the emerging geoscientists should master before being able to participate actively in CCS. So maybe you can answer that briefly. Thank you.
Thanks for your question, Asinaya. I hope I pronounced your name correctly. Um, so for me, coming with a geoscientist degree by itself is a qualification. The skills that I would work on apart from technical are things that you don't normally see as a requirement that early in your career. So, presentation skills, engagement skills, leadership skills, responsibility skills. Those two things go hand in hand in progressing your career. So, yes, the technical is important. And of course, there's a technical qualification. To be hired by certain companies, you need to come with a good GPA. But I think the things that really push you further in your career are more of the softer skills, if you could put a name to it, and also personal development, exposing yourself to things that would develop your confidence, your ability to weather tough situations. And that comes with simple things, where you're from, who you interact with. Everyone can teach you something. And I think it's to have that intuition and that intelligence to understand what you can learn from each person.
Thank you so much for answering that, ma'am. So the next question I have for my side is that you started a career in Trinidad and you're now based in Houston. That's like a truly international career. So how did these experiences shape your professional journey, and what encouragement would you like to offer young professionals aspiring to have a global career?
That's a good question. From my perspective, going from Trinidad to Houston is actually not that international. All right. I've met so many people within the company that have worked in so many different countries, lived in 10 plus cities, traveled the world really from, African continent to European to Caribbean. So for me, I think, I didn't fully access that experience, But I will say that I did get international opportunities here in the US. And how did that shape my professional journey? One, it challenged me in a number of different ways. It pushed me outside of my comfort zone. And to be honest, many of these opportunities can be scary to start with. Coming from a small Caribbean island, not being exposed to the world, traveling for the first time. When I started my career with SLB, it's a huge jump. It's a leap, actually, from a personal aspect, much less for trying to adapt to a new culture. So I think my word of advice to women trying to go about achieving an international career is always be prepared for the opportunity. Always be prepared and push yourself outside of your comfort zone, and always stay positive through the good and the bad, right? There will be many challenges you will face throughout the journey, but you have to be resilient and power through to really learn along the way and to reap the benefits of your hard work. So that would be my advice. Take every opportunity as it comes, and always try to put your best foot forward.
Thank you so much for that, ma'am. And I also think that sometimes, even when you're not prepared, you can, take a leap, right? Because when I started
Yes,
my internship at SLB, it required me to move to a new state where I had no relations, no friends, no family. I had to go there alone. So, having a career in geoscience, you need to have a flexibility attitude towards challenges. So you need to be resilient and willing to take risks and just going out of your comfort zone, even if you don't have everything planned. Yes. So thank you for that, ma'am.
absolutely, Radia.
So the next question I have from my side is that, as a chemical and process engineer, your expertise evolved into artificial lift and now into carbon capture, utilization, and storage. So how did you manage this transition? And I think you've said it already before. You said, and the skills that you believe that we should focus on in order to adapt to, changing industry demands.
Yes. So that is the the nature of the industry, dealing with um, the cyclic nature of the oil and gas business, and also the uncertainty that comes with pivoting to the new energy space. So along the way, you have to be adaptable and flexible to these changes. Um, I think that's a very good quality to develop. And of course, you may not feel brave at any point in time to take that leap, going back to taking the leap again, but challenging yourself in the different spaces. My philosophy is, if you practice it, you will get good at it. Everyone starts somewhere. There's a day one for everything. And for me, what helps me along the way is always focusing on things that give me energy, right? So whether it be fitness or painting or doing something that you enjoy to fuel your passion and energy to make it in the long run. So I hope that answers it.
But yes, ma'am, thank you so much. So I have another rather interesting question here for Gloria. She said she'd like to know that as a career person aiming to reach achievable and international heights, that how do you incorporate your married life into it? How do you balance your marriage life and your career?
Oh, this is a good question. Ifienwa, thank you for the question. So I'll share with you. So I got married traditionally. Traditional marriage age is probably in your early 20s, as society says. But of course, for me, I waited a while and I got married at 30. And I actually met my husband on one of my assignments in the US. So it is, with the work, you find benefits in your personal life as well. How do I how do I manage my life? I think choosing the right partner that understands the work you do and someone you can build a life with is important. My husband works for an energy company, Chevron, as well. He's an electrical engineer. And I think we have a lot of in common from that regard. We have many differences as well. So that's, we learn from each other. I come from a completely different background, he as well. So someone who you can learn from, someone who will support your career journey. And how do I balance it? If I understand the question, roll with the punches. I mean, I didn't expect to meet my husband on my career journey, to be honest. So this is something that just, was serendipity, if you could call it that. So I love it. I love that I found someone who I can share so many things with and share the journey of career development. Thank you, Ifi Anwar.
Thank you very much for answering that, ma'am. So my the next question from my side is that, like you said, you already have it. You have dedicated to living a balanced lifestyle. And how do you maintain this balance in a demanding industry? And what strategies can you suggest for young women to prioritize their well-being while pursuing ambitious careers?
Okay, good, very good question. Um, so it's different at you have to find different balances at different stages in your career and always keep your eyes on your goals. So at the beginning of my career as a field engineer, it was difficult to balance the things that I enjoyed with work. Sometimes you're offshore for weeks at a time, but you use the resources available to you to do the things that you enjoy and you try to integrate it into your work life. There were many times I was offshore. I get my energy from doing active things like working out at the gym. I would find ways to do that. Put on a YouTube video and do an exercise in my little room. Something that will keep me active and energized. Now, the rewards to those sacrifices on your time working offshore, I will tell you it gets better as you move up the career ladder. Today, my schedule has completely changed. I'm able to do my fitness routine early in the morning. I get up at 5:30 and I do at least an hour of workout in the morning, and that sets me up for my day. And at the end of it, I know I've accomplished something. I've done my workouts. I have organized my thoughts, whether it be through a walk or through lifting some weights. And then I attack my day. Right. So I think it's very important to find those balances where you can. And it may be different activities that give you energy. It doesn't have to be exercise. It could be something that you enjoy, like arts. My sister, for instance, she also works in the energy industry and she loves to paint and she loves to draw. And that is her time to organize her thoughts. So whatever gives you energy.
Thank you for that, ma'am. So we have a question from Daniel. He says, how relevant is machine learning skill to solving key energy issues, and what advice will you give him to further continue on this path of machine learning?
Okay, Danielle, thank you for the question. So, machine learning is not my forte or area of expertise, but I know as a company we are investing in this, and I think it's already today going to help in the journey towards the energy transition, right? We need these digital type of technologies, AI, machine learning, predictive technologies to help us along the way. So, what advice would I give to further continue this path? Um, so for me, I would say align yourself with opportunities that would help you practice this skill and develop competency and expertise in that area. Now, I think it's a very niche area and the expertise is very important. So that will prepare you for future opportunities in the industry if you don't have it already, right? So sharpen the skills and seek out the opportunities. There's a lot of information online, a lot of companies that provide opportunities for engineers pursuing this pathway, and we do have a team working on machine learning and AI within SLB. Thanks for the question, Daniel.
Thank you for that answer, ma'am. So, the next question from my side is that you've experienced many roles, like I said before, and particularly you focused on young professional career development on your HR role. What essential career advice would you wish you've received when when you were starting out your career journey, and what do you believe young women should prioritize in their early careers?
Okay, a good question. So priorities. So one is to set your goals. What do you want to achieve from any position or any path that you take, any skill you pursue? What do you want to come out with? And it's very important to be specific in putting measurable targets when setting your goals. So, for instance, if you want to be, let me just use a real, layman type of thing. So, if I want to be the strongest person in the gym, I need to put in the work daily. So, I need to set clear goals for myself. I'm going to go to the gym for an hour, 4 to 5 times a week. By the end of that week, I will be stronger. So, this is the approach that you need to take with your career. I want to build a business in the artificial lift space. Okay, so I'm going to make 10 cold calls today to new clients. I'm going to focus on 2 key opportunities with clients that we already have business with. So setting those and putting pen to paper and basically checking them off as you go. You, one, develop the skills in the space, and 2, you achieve the goal to bring results to the company or anyone you're working for. So that comes with setting your goals, number one, prioritizing your time to achieve those goals, and you need to own your time, right? Of course, early on in your career, you're usually given a set of objectives and you need to manage time. Being efficient in how you manage that time to complete each task is important. And going back to the question, prioritizing in your early career, understanding the goals of the company and finding a mentor with experience to guide you along the way. So it's important to seek out people who you would like to emanate, whether it be behaviors or technical expertise. Seek them out and be brave to reach out and ask for advice and mentorship. Thank you.
Thank you, Marissa Williams. All right. So, what has been the most significant barrier in your career, and how did you overcome it?
Whew. So I think for me, I'm a hard worker and I will put my best foot forward. I come with everything with passion and drive, and I will do my best in anything with the resources that I have. I think the hardest thing for me initially was to digest that in the region that I grew up, there was little opportunity for jobs. So you had to be the best at what you did to even have the opportunity. And then you also had to navigate networks to find that opportunity. So I think, again, going back to how do you pursue this, it is always being prepared for that opportunity and seeking them out, right? And do the best with the resources that you have to get it. So I think, in a sense, I was lucky or able to get an opportunity that really helped me along with my career. So stay resilient. Your hard work will pay off. There's a rule of the universe. What you put out there is what will come back. And I truly believe, staying in a positive mindset to push yourself forward and to weather the tough situations, you will get the opportunity.
Thank you for that answer, ma'am. And I also think that That's the importance of joining societies, or will I say families or communities like the SCG and other professional societies out there. So because they are like your support, they are a support network, and anything you need, right? You just need to ask. There's always somebody there that's gonna help you, and that's why it's always good to put yourself out there, and not just about. It's not. I'm always saying it's not just about joining or being a member of the SCG or AAPG. It's about being active, doing things.
Right.
Making impact, so that it's not just to be noticed, but your passion is we always reflect, and
Yes.
when those people, when they know you, it will be easy for them to help you. So it's very important that you stay active and join relevant professional societies.
Yes.
So
And
yes, go on.
I like that input, Rudia, because I truly believe whoever is on the other side of this call, you're going to be on this end one day. And power through, because you're going to be an inspiration to others with these communities and have an influence in the future. So we're counting on you guys.
Yes, ma'am, we are ready. We are getting ready.
Excellent.
All right. So the next question from my side here is, what advice would you give your younger self?
Oh, I could tell my younger self many things. All right. And if I was my future self, I would avoid a lot of mistakes that I made along the journey. So, you know, I think, starting out my career, I approached it with a bit of anxiety, wanting to make sure and have everything figured out. And I would tell my younger self, be patient with yourself, let yourself make mistakes. Don't be too hard on yourself. Failure is where you learn the most. And be courageous, be bold, and step into tables that you may not even be invited to. You take it upon yourself to put yourself in places that you are visible, and understand that you bring something valuable to the table, whatever it may be, and in turn you will learn along the way.
Thank you for that answer, ma'am. So if you're not invited to the table, bring your chair to the table.
Yes, exactly. Bring your own chair and sit and be part of the conversation, knowing that you have something valuable to say.
All right. So, is there anything else you'd like to share to inspire minorities looking forward to a career in geoscience, especially females?
So I think just, how the world is evolving, and from the social aspect specific to minorities, I think there is better understanding on the challenges that minority women face in the industry, and companies who are forward thinking are putting policies in place and programs in place to elevate our population. So, um, you know, what would I say to inspire people like myself, right? Because that's how I see it now. I never really identified as, a minority female, but this is the term that's out there, is to come with the confidence that you have value in the working world, and to know that no one is better at anything than you, right? To know that practice makes perfect. It's like building a muscle. If you put in the work daily, you're going to become better and better every day. And the experts that you see in the field today started from day one, right? They started somewhere. And just like you know, no difference. We will have different challenges as minority females, but don't take things personal. I never let people's comments or situations emotionally affect me. I always kept my eye on the prize and what I wanted to achieve for myself, and having that vision for who you want to be and what impact you want to make on the world or on anyone is a driver in itself.
Thank you for that answer, ma'am. We have another question from Ifeyiwa. So she says, is there a particular strategy to follow mentors? Sometimes they don't have enough time for us, which is understandable. What qualities should you look out in a professional to know their mental material?
So this is a very good question. Um, I think, sometimes when you're seeking out mentorship, going with the aspect of can you be my mentor is very vague, right? You need to get down to the specifics on why you want mentorship and what areas you need development so that mentor can properly and efficiently help you, right? So if it is a matter of time, blocking off or agreeing with the mentor on somewhere where the schedule is aligned, first of all, and then making sure you're prepared for that session so that you walk away with the tools that you need to develop the skill that you're looking to develop, right? So being intentional in what you want out of it and being prepared for those mentorship sessions.
Thank you for that answer, ma'am. So for Ifeanyiwa, I think, yeah, we have a mentorship session. We call it Mentoring 365. I don't know if you've heard about it. SG Women's Network partnered with American Geophysical Union and some, other professional societies. So even Marissa Williams, you can join as a mentor. So anybody here on this call, you don't have to be a member of the SCG. Even if you're not a member of the SCG or AGU, you can join and look for mentors.
Yeah,
So, and I like to say also that sometimes, yes, you may choose mentors, but mentors choose you. I don't know why I do say that mentors choose you, but when you actually reach out to someone, sometimes they also need to see the energy that you're putting into. It's not like you sign up for mentoring 365 now and you just left it, or you're not, it's the energy we always show in you. And so I like to say that mentor choose you. And coming to programs like this, showing up, attending, it just happened. For me, I didn't go to meet any of my mentors to meet them that, okay, I want you to be my mentor. It just happened. It
right,
just happened. Yeah, so that's the importance of showing up and being active. It's always showing your passion, but you also need to push yourself and also be in communities like the SCG. And if you're not in the SCG community on Slack, I think it's also a great place to be. All members of SCG, even non-members, professionals, industry professionals, academia, all of them are on the SCG Slack community, and I think it's a great place to be. So
excellent. I
yeah.
love that you shared that, Rodiat. And Mentoring 365, I think that's an amazing name because I
Yeah.
think a lot of mentors, they approach their mentees with the mindset that they can learn something from the mentees as well. So it's a two-way street along your career.
Yes. So I think we've come to the end of September session, and it has been a great session, ma'am. I just want to say thank you so much for taking time out of your schedule to be with us today. I appreciate you and everybody from the SE Women's Network to all the participants, from the call and the participants that will still be listening that are not on the live call. We say thank you so much, and have a blessed day, ma'am.
Thank you, Rodiat. Thank you to SEG Women's Network, and thank you for what you're doing in the space. You're enabling a lot of women, and if it is you inspire one person, you're inspiring me today in this AMA, and all those on the call who ask questions. Thank you for being brave enough to ask the questions. You're inspiring others. So thank you very much.
Thank you, ma'am.
Take
Bye.